I would be interested to see how much the complexion of our mind would change if we were open to that thought.
Yeah, because it's all just a story we're telling ourselves. So I always say, change the story. You're thinking catastrophizing. What if that goes wrong? Change the story. What if that goes right? What would that look like? You know, paint a different picture.
You are the author.
Like you say, we're so creative. Our minds are so creative. We just use them in the wrong way a lot of the time.
Our minds are like the Picasso if he was inherently pessimistic.
That's a quote in itself.
There you go.
It's a good one. I like that.
I enjoy that thought of the reframe, though, of we seem to be ingrained in this sort of, we have to look at things. I suppose my sort of understanding of this, having dabbled just a little bit in evolutionary psychology, is I assume that in being pessimistic, we're more likely to keep ourselves safe if you look at it on an animalistic sense. If you are the loincloth wearing, spear wielding caveman who is traversing the woodlands, and you see a tiger and you go, what's that? I'm going to go and say hello to it. Your genes probably aren't going to be propagated very well. If you're the caveman that goes, what the fuck is that? I'm going that way. Then I suppose that is sort of inbuilt into us that pessimism.
It's that whole fail to prepare thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fail to prepare to fail. So we think we have to think about the worst case scenario. But you're right, we're not cavemen anymore. We don't always need to think about that. It's not life or death. You're probably right in that that's where that comes from, for sure.
But as you say, though, it is that sort of armouring yourself against what could go wrong, which definitely has its place. That's obviously valuable, because if you can look at what could go wrong, you can look at the exam paper and go, right, that's where I'm weak, let me rectify that. But
Absolutely.
We don't look... I mean, think about it. Think about whenever you've opened up an exam paper, how much attention do you pay to the ones with the tick? None. You don't care about them.
Always, where did I go wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so negative. We need to celebrate our successes. We really need to celebrate our successes. I know my sister, my incredibly intelligent sister, was devastated that she didn't get any 9s in her GCSEs. But I think she got all 8s. And I'm like, come on, seriously. You've done so well, but you're upset that you didn't get the top mark. And it's like, give yourselves a break, everybody. Let's celebrate what we have done and not what we haven't. And like you say, that comes into the guilt. You talk about the guilt, like if you've not done work for an hour. So what? Think about all the work you have done until that point. It's, what have we achieved? Not what have we not achieved. It's so, I don't know why we find it so much easier to do that. And it's about, a lot of the work I do with people as a coach is teaching people new habits. Because the way you think is a habit. Like a physical habit, like biting your nails or any other physical habit. We don't think about thinking as a habit, but it is a habit. Looking at the negative, looking at what went wrong rather than what went right. Thinking about what might go wrong, not what might go right. It's all just a habit, which we can change, but you have to consciously want to change that. You have to make effort to change it, especially if it's been the habit of your lifetime. It's building a new habit, which you can absolutely do if you want to and you're motivated to.
What's the most common habit people do that denigrates themselves?
The most common, I think it's what we've been talking about. It's worrying, it's anxiety. I think that to me is one of the most common ones that I come across. And as a society, we seem to be getting more and more anxious. I've worked with school-age kids. It's getting younger, anxiety's getting younger. I think social media has a lot to do with that. The fact that everyone has access to the news all the time. Anxiety is just rife, and worrying about things ahead of time. I think that's possibly the most common thing I come across. And it's so damaging as well. It can take over your life.
Absolutely. How do you think the news plays into that?
Because the news is never good, is it?
No.
They very rarely share good news. The news is all, particularly, at the moment, it's wars in different countries. It's what's going wrong in the world, what's bad in the world. There's no, sometimes you might get one little feel-good news story at the end of all the headlines, and it's so often just bad, and it's popping up. I unfollowed. It was a page on Facebook. I think it was the Mirror, because everything they posted, the post started with tragic news or horrible news, terrible news today. Every single post was like that, and I'm like, I'm unfollowing that because that is not doing anybody any good. It's just, you don't need to see those words again. Like we've talked about, the importance of language. If those are the words we're
feel
feeding
like
in.
you've got to take a responsibility on that as well.
Yeah, you choose what you want to take in. It's there. Like I say, I unfollowed that page because I just kept seeing it, and I'm like, no, I'm not interested in if that's all you're going to talk about. So yeah, it is. It's a conscious decision. I was working with quite a young teenager a few years ago when North Korea were doing all these tests on their nuclear missiles, and she kept soaking it in and being like, I'm really worried about this. And I'm like, stop reading it. Stop reading it, because it's miles away. You don't need all that worry about it.
Mr. Kim is not going to go, this lady is worried, I'm going to stop making these nuclear weapons.
Exactly.
He's not.
And that is such a good point. The thing I think about, and the thing I ask people to think about if they're worrying about something, is, will it change anything? Will it change the outcome? It's like we were saying about the old monkey brain, the caveman brain. If you have to think about something to preparing is different to worrying. So prepare. Do what you've got to do to prepare yourself. But if you're worrying about something you can't change, it's a waste of time and a waste of energy. If you're worried about something you can change, stop worrying and do something about it.
Yeah.
But if you can't,
Funnel the worry.
let it go. Yeah. There's useful worry and not useful worry, and most worry isn't useful. Like I say, I think there's a difference between preparing and worrying. So we all worry too much.
We do indeed.
And now we've said the word too much as well.
Yeah. And I'm going to say it again, just for the point. I think worrying and news go hand in hand.
Absolutely.
I think news outlets feed on the fact that within sort of panic and distress, there is entertainment in many respects. And I think people forget the news is an entertainment source. It's for the intensive purpose of providing you with food for thought. That's what it's for.
Yeah.
And
They want you to keep reading.
yeah, exactly. You go, oh, this is tasty. Let me get into this. Wow, how tragic.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
how much interest is there in wondering what Trump has fucked up today versus the old man who crosses the street and has been helped along by two people. No one cares about that because it doesn't. It just doesn't. Within worry, there is sort of hypothesis and what if. There isn't that in good. In good, it's a happy ending, and there's no sort of through point. I think it's really important, and something that I've been shouting from the rooftops recently is about knowing of the availability bias. Do you know about the availability bias?
Tell me.
So essentially, it's what you see is all there is when it comes to your mind. So, for instance, I am someone who is opinionated, let's say, on psychedelics and whether they should or shouldn't be illegal. And my perspective on this is very different to someone who reads the news because we're coming from this from different angles. What I see is the therapeutic values that can come of this, of the personal benefits that can come from this. And then, don't get me wrong, that is tempered with knowing that these things can be inherently dangerous. I won't ever confuse that at all. But if someone just looks at the news and that's all that's available to them, all they'll see is tragic incident of child dying as a result of taking MDMA. And they'll go, right, that's terrible. Nothing good can come from that. And it's like, if that's all you see, then that's all you understand is there.
Yeah.
And with the news, you can't help but sort of really take that home and think, if all I see on the news is negative, then we must be living in a negative world.
Yeah, what a terrible world we live in.
Yeah, exactly. And don't get me wrong, there are the world has its wicked nature. It obviously does, but there's fruit and joy here as well, and there's so much of it. I think
we see what we want to see as well. Go look for the good news because you will find it.
Yeah, there's loads of it.
You know, yeah,
there is loads of it,
yeah,
and it's
what you look for.
Choose to look at.
Yeah, I have this conversation with my mum quite a lot because my mum is worst case scenario. Always. And it's always, well, I've heard loads of bad things about this thing. And I'm like, what about the good things? Look for the good things. They will be there. But you do find, and of course, thinking about technology and social media, the algorithms learn what you look at. So they'll give you more of what you look at.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how you end up in a loop, and that's how you end up not open-minded to a different point of view, because all you're seeing is the stuff that you already believed in, and then the technology learns that really quickly.
And it will just
It's quite
keep on
scary.
ingraining it.
Oh, yes.
I think one of the most valuable skills that we can cultivate when it comes to social media and at large our lives is to cross-reference. I think if you can look and you can go, right, this is telling me that, but
Yeah.
what's actually going on here? On the point of drugs, if I see a report of someone dying from using something, what's actually happened there? Let me look at it. Let me cross-reference
Yeah.
that
What
with
else has happened?
the fatality rates at large. You know, for instance,
Yeah.
the point of the MDMA that I said there, I saw something come up on the news of 60 people have died as a result of taking ecstasy over the last 2 years. Now, don't get me wrong, that is tragic. 60 people have died. That's awful, and it's sad. But then you look at that and you go, there are more deaths as a result of horse riding per year than there are in
Yeah.
2 years there, or people crossing the street, or
Yeah.
you know, there's so many things that are. I mean, don't even let me get started on the alcohol and the nicotine side of things. You know,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
so many things that are way, way more dangerous than that.
Yeah.
Don't talk about that because it sells more. And I think
Yeah.
that's a really important thing. Is the news is entertainment and it's supposed to sell.
Yeah.
And it's
Absolutely.
narratives. It's feeding narratives.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. We should be open-minded. I mean, the whole COVID thing really brought people down on both sides, didn't it? And you had to be open-minded. There was all the conspiracy theories. Where did COVID come from? Should we be in lockdown? Should we not be? Is COVID even real? There was so much debate around that topic. And I've always tried to be open-minded to every side, but not enough people are, unfortunately.
The glamorized cold that brought the world to its knees.